Good morning or good day, folks. Good morning or good day. Pastor Rocky Branch, Spruce Pine First Baptist Church. We are on the way to Santorini. We're at Mykonos. No, we were at Ephesus yesterday. And today we're going to Santorini. That's where the blue roofs are, and the homes are white. They're white. They have the blue tops. And beautiful place, beautiful place. We have been fortunate to be there before. So we're not going to go ashore so we can sort of rest, as that was our plan on this trip, is to rest more and visit stuff less because we've been here before. But there's a couple of places we haven't been, so we're going to be doing that as well. But yesterday we were at Ephesus. Ephesus is one of the 7 churches. In fact, the first church listed in the book of Revelation. Paul, the apostle, stayed there for a long period of time. 3 years, to the point that he tried to set the church in order and help the church to understand the responsibilities. And walking among the place where John was, his church was, where he had been taken in captivity into the Roman custody because he would not give honor to Caesar. And, of course, John the Beloved, if you call him that, he was put on the Isle of Patmos out in the Aegean Sea, where we are sailing right now. And in the process of all that stuff, it's an amazing thing to think about what the gospel went through to get to us. And John just said, no, I'm not going to, I've said this many times in sermons, all he had to do in those of Asia Minor, which were the ground we were walking on, all they had to do was to take some incense, throw into a shrine that had an image of Caesar, a statue, and say Caesar Onterios, which means Caesar is Lord. But John would not do that. He just refused to do it. And so they put him on the Isle of Patmos, 6 miles long, a mile wide. It's a rock quarry. And he stayed there for a long period of time. Then he was released, and he came back to Ephesus, and there he died. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, was also there at Ephesus with John, because if you remember, on the cross, Jesus gave his mother to John. And there's a long story behind that, much too long for this message, but certainly one that we'll share at some point, about why he did that. Because James, was Jesus' brother, not James and John. That was John's brother, James. The other James was Jesus' brother, and Jesus did not give his mother to his brother James. And instead he gave it to John the apostle. And there's a reason for that. But anyway, they were both buried there. We've seen their tombs before. We saw them again yesterday. And just an amazing thing to think about as you're walking down, and you're going down this marble road, if you will, the very stones that John walked on, the very stones that Paul walked on in Ephesus. And it's an amazing venture to think about the travel time of the gospel and what God did with it and through it and what it cost us to have it. And it makes us think, what is it costing you to serve the Lord? And it's not that you have to be persecuted or anything like that. It's not that you have to be beaten or flogged or put in jail. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about sacrifice in your life to do his life. That's what that means. And it's very important because Paul, stayed here a long time. And Paul, in just below Ephesus, where John's church was, and Mary's tomb and John's tomb, and of course the bones are not there. They've taken those out and put them in museums, but that's where they originally buried. And then, of course, on down a pretty good little ways into the heart of the city is the school of Tyrannus that Paul met those 12 young disciples, you remember, in Acts chapter 19, and asked them, have you received the Holy Spirit since you believed? And they said, we don't even hear anything about the Holy Spirit. Now, this is eye-opening stuff. I mean, you should really think about it, because the Apostle Paul is coming to the heart of the matter and asking these men, have you received the Spirit of God? And they said, we hadn't even heard about it. All they had listened to is John's baptism. And there's so much to that. My goodness, I could take an hour and a half and maybe get started on just this subject matter, how good it is. But my question to you now is, and I've been trying to come to you, but the signal's so sketchy, and I don't know when this is going to show up to you. But my question to you now is, what is the gospel life costing your physical being? What are you resisting to follow Jesus Christ? That's a tough one, because we all have challenges, and we're all going to have challenges as long as we live. But Jesus reminded us that if we're going to follow him, we must pick up our cross. He picked up his cross. We must pick up our cross. So in the process of being at this place and standing on the ground where John was, and in the place where John lived, his church was, and Mary was, then the city, and then the school of Tyrannus, and the hospital that was there, and all these things, it reminds us of a great price that was paid that we might be believers and trust in something that is absolutely eternal, and it's Jesus Christ. And let us not forget the cost that he paid, and we also have a cost. Think about that. Just study about it. I'll come back to you when I can. God bless you.